Hey, how's it going? It's William from Rocket Zero, and I'm super late to this video. Totally forgot about this car pack, which is the 2016 Summer Car Pack DLC for Forza Motorsport sits. And we start with the 2016 Abarth 695 Biposto. And if you don't speak Italian, Biposto just means two-seater. So it's a D-type. Not really that exciting. It has 186 horsepower front-wheel drive. So that's a decent amount for this little Fiat. So let's see what Forza Vista lady has to say.
Abarth is the performance tuning arm of Fiat, one of the largest automakers in the world. They were innovators among automaker-owned performance upgrade houses. In 1959, Abarth released the first affordable performance car for the masses, the Fiat 500. The car was a huge success, but the company would make an even bigger mark in another field, customizing. Their custom upgrade kits for the Fiat Topolino inspired countless aspiring racers to upgrade their base model cars to compete on the track. In the 1960s, Abarth became the racing department for Fiat, prepping the 124 and 131 rally cars. The team won over 800 races in 1967 alone, with cars on almost every track. Abarth has gone on to dominate the Italian tuning market since the 1960s, inspiring a number of other in-house tuning groups like AMG, Nismo, and SRT.
Fiat themselves says this is too much fun and it shouldn't be legal, but they're celebrating their 50th anniversary since the introduction of the first Fiat 500, and this is the Biposto version, and I mean, it packs a bunch of really good equipment, because if you look at it, it has Akrapovic, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it has Derek sauce, Brembo brakes, OC wheels, a Garrett turbo, and much more. So I mean, this car is really inexpensive, and it's beating cars twice its price. So this really is your little pocket track car. How cool is that? Like, I mean, this car is pretty dope. I like it. I would drive one. Except I might need a window that rolls down. But other than that, this looks like a lot of fun. It might actually be my go-to D-Class car in Forza. Here we have the 2000 BMW 323 Ti Sport. It's a D-Class at 328. And overall, all the stats seem average, has about 168 horsepower and a 50-50 weight distribution, which is known for BMW. So now let's see what the Forza Vista lady has to say.
BMW has a long, storied history.
Okay, so sadly, there's no special Forza Vista chat for this BMW, so I'm gonna give you my own version of it. This is one of the very few true hot hatches BMW has ever built, with a spirited motor capable of nearly 200 horsepower, as well as trailing arm suspension, the 323 Ti Turismo Internazionale, which harkens back to the famous BMW 2002 Ti. This Jordan 3 Series can get as tail-happy as you like, it while still maintaining its poise. Why? Because underneath, it's the E36 chassis, that backbone that has made the model legendary in all forms of motorsport, from drifting to touring car racing. This is a well-rounded package that won't come up short. So to me, this is a completely underrated BMW, because all the spotlight usually go to the M-batch cars. But this little thing can really book it. It's a little hatchback, short-wheel drive, not short-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, in a little short body. So, I mean, this is a car that you want. It's a really quick grocer together. To me, at the time where this car came out, this would probably be one of my dream cars. It's an affordable dream car, because, well, it's a BMW, maybe not that affordable. But an easy-to-get car that still has the performance you want, and the other capabilities that you need in a regular car. So, you know, put people in the back seat if you want to go somewhere else. So, to me, this is a really underrated car. So, hopefully, a lot of people add it to their car collections, because I'm a big fan of this guy. So, now let's move on to the next car in this car pack. Here we have the 2016 Cadillac CTS-V Sedan, which, any way you look at it, it's probably the star of this car pack, because it's in all of their advertisements for this DLC. It's an A-Class at 619 and has 640 horsepower. It weighs around 4,000 pounds, so that's a lot of power, even though it's a kind of a heavy car, and a weight distribution of 53 towards the front, so not bad. Let's go see what the Forza Vista lady has to say.
Founded in 1902, Cadillac has offered the highest levels of luxury and comfort above all else. In the 1950s, this was taken to the extreme with some of the longest and roomiest cars ever built. Some Cadillacs were over 20 feet long, and more than a few owners found they couldn't fit in their garages. By the 1970s, however, with the world in the midst of an oil crisis, large cars were no longer in favor, and Cadillac had to adapt to the changing times. By the early 90s, Cadillac began a major turnaround. producing redesigned, stylish models with vastly improved fuel efficiency. Cadillac also introduced a new line of tuned, high-performance vehicles. The Cadillac V-Series models feature V8 engines, aggressively tuned braking and suspension systems, and revised bodywork to help them stand out from the pack.
Well, what do you get when you combine the power of the Surtees Corvette with the best chassis and suspension Cadillac has ever developed? Well, you guessed it, it's the CTS, almost forgot its name, V Sedan, designed to compete with the German powerhouse in the super sedan category. This CTS-V is a drop-dead gorgeous and smokes the competition like it does its tires. That's all from Cadillac themselves. It's a bunch of PR just getting thrown at your ears here. But what do I think of the car? Well, I think it looks average. Cadillacs, to me, they're just not very good looking. I don't like the way they look, but you cannot blink at their performance because it's something to just take in. It has the motor of the Corvette in a sedan, so that's all you need. It's almost like the Chevrolet SS that nobody buys. But to me, this is pretty cool. Would I buy it? No, but do I like to look at it? Yeah, so this is a pretty cool little Corvette. Why do I keep saying Corvette? Cadillac, so add it to your collection. Very few American cars can handle the way this thing does, so pretty cool. Now let's go see the next car. This is the 1979 Datsun number 33 Bob Sharp Racing 280CX Turbo. It's an R-Class at 850, dead in the middle of the car class. It weighs about 2,400 pounds, so it's really lightweight, and it has a power of 750 horsepower, so pretty good for this car class. Let's go see what the Forza Vista lady has to say about this Datsun.
For 1969, Nissan USA President Katayama began development of an affordable sports car. In Japan, the car would be known as the Fairlady Z, and elsewhere as the Datsun 240Z. The Nissan Z Series would sell over 2 million cars, becoming the fastest-selling sports car in history. The fuel crisis of the 1970s favored smaller, efficient cars like the 240Z, and it was an instant hit. With excellent balance and rear-wheel drive, the 240Z became a racing powerhouse, winning multiple SCCA and IMSA class championships and first in the East African Safari Rally. The Z car line was updated with the 280ZX and radically redesigned with the 300ZX, 350Z, and 370Z, each generation improving handling, acceleration, and refinement while maintaining what makes a Z car so special: rear-wheel drive performance and reliability at a reasonable price.
This was actually raced by the legend himself, Paul Newman, who had a racing career nearly as extensive as his film career. In 1979, he won the SCCA C Production Championship. He said that this victory was better than the Oscars, because I mean, when you just something about racing, it's something else. Like, you can't compare it. And this is as far away as the street car version of the Fairlady Z. So I mean, just look at it. Nothing here would be road legal. Just look at the back of the car and the side. Look, let's move towards the back. Look how far all the body panels extend. That's crazy. This is pretty cool. So I don't know. We might take this car up for the test drive at the end of the video. Probably not, but maybe. But it's pretty cool. Just look at it. Imagine a wing that big, like in your Nissan. That's just awesome. Let's go look at the next car. No idea what it is. Here we have the 1964 Ferrari F-158 F1. So it's an S-Class at 714. It has 210 horsepower, and it only weighs 1,032 pounds. That is light. And a weight distribution of 43%. Let's go see what the Forza Vista lady has to say about this Ferrari.
Grand Prix cars of the 1950s and 60s prioritized speed above all else. Safety features were marginal, and many drivers didn't even wear seat belts. In the event of a crash, they preferred to be thrown free of the car to escape fire. Tragically, the lack of safety equipment resulted in nearly 30 driver deaths. The open regulations of Grand Prix racing also allowed for huge leaps in innovation and variations in design. Different engine and chassis configurations raced simultaneously, developing extremely powerful cars and unique handling characteristics. This fantastic driving was complemented by the car's sleek bodies, traditionally painted in national racing colors. In 1968, however, many race teams began experimenting with aerodynamic wings and sponsorships, changing the look of Grand Prix cars forever.
So to me, this is pretty interesting. In 1964, with the aid of the new V8 engine, John Surtees would take Ferrari to victory in the Formula 1 championship. It was a very difficult year for Ferrari himself because Enzo Ferrari battled both the FIA, the Italian ACI government bodies, over the safety of GT racing. The end result had Ferrari boss claiming himself he was furious that he will never race again in the Italian red colors. So come next year, he raced with blue and white rather than red, and sadly he ended up finishing second in that championship year. So maybe he should have stuck with red, but I mean, he was just furious. How dare Italy himself just getting between him and racing. So he was just a passionate Italian man, just mad at the government, saying, why do we need seatbelts? What's all this like safety braking crap? We don't need it, just race. So whatever, he finished second the next year. So there you go, that was a little story about this car. So now let's go see the next one. Here is the 1991 Nissan number 23 Nissan R91CP. Lots of Nissans here, but it's a P-Class at 980, it has 671 horsepower, and it only weighs 2,050 pounds, and a 50-50 weight distribution of 45 going towards the front. So pretty cool. Now let's go look at what the Forza Vista lady has to say.
With roots reaching back to the very beginning of the Japanese automotive industry, Nissan has a long history of making some of the best-selling sports cars in the world. From the beginning, Nissan's cars were built to be good-looking and fun to drive. Sporty models like the 510 and 240Z were huge successes. The 240SX was especially appealing to motorsport fans who wanted to experience the joy of driving a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car, a layout that made it popular for drifting. Nismo, the motorsports division of Nissan, creates high-performance race cars. Their team was the first from Japan to win an international victory, taking the grueling 1958 Around Australia Rally. Where Nissan really shines, however, is in the Super GT series, formerly known as the All-Japan Touring Car Championship. Nissan has won 14 team titles and 16 drivers' championships, more than any other company.
So this Group C racer marks the height of performance for the prototype era just before their demise as a class. Nissan and performance division Nismo has been racing similar models since 1985, but the R91CP perfected the formula. This one car made it all happen. They put everything together. It was the first Japanese car to take the overall win at the 24 Hours of Daytona. Driver, oh god, this is gonna be a weird name, Kazuyoshi Hoshiro and Toshio Suzuki won that race with a 10-lap margin and set a yet unbeatable record of 762 laps in the process, the most amount of laps to take the victory. So I mean, those are time races, so the more laps you make, that means you're going faster. So 762 laps, that was really fast. So now let's go see the next car. This is the 1964 Watson #1 Sheraton-Thompson Special Roadster. It's an A-Class at 692, has 407 horsepower, and it has a weight of 1,472 pounds. Now let's go see what the Forza Vista lady has to say. I bet this is going to be special.
Following World War II, successful hot rod tuner A.J. Watson went to work on Indianapolis 500 race cars. Only a year after joining a team as chief mechanic, his 1955 Curtiss Roadster came away with a victory, prompting him to start building his own Indy Roadsters. What the cars lacked in technical innovation, they made up in speed and reliability. His methods were unorthodox, to say the least. When something like a turbocharger or injector stacks wouldn't fit under the hood, he simply routed them to the outside of the car. In 1959 and 1960, Watson finished 1-2 at Indy and followed up with 3 more wins. Soon, teams like Lotus and Brabham would introduce mid-engine cars with aerodynamic advantages, starting the so-called British invasion. Yet even amidst the newer models, driver A.J. Foyt recorded the final Roadster win at Indy in 1964 in a Watson.
Now in his 80s, A.J. Foyt is one of the most legendary drivers of all time. In 1964, he was just 30 years old and in his prime. It was the end of an era, the last year where front-engine racers would dominate the surface of the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It was also one of Foyt's most amazing years in racing and possibly one of the greatest in motorsport Motorsport's history. Behind the wheel of the number 1 Datsun-Thompson Roadster, he would win the first 7 races of the season, 10 out of the 13 total, including the Indy 500 itself. This car blew away the competition. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video. Sorry that I brought it to you so late, I just forgot about it. So thank you so much for watching. This was William from Rocket Zero. Tell your friends about us, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm having to shout now. We'll see you next time.